So we're back to the financial model, and we can paste here Alt ES, paste V as values. So we have that set up here. So we can go back to this precedent transactions worksheet, and we can copy whatever we need from here. We can copy all of this. And paste here for the target 12 months, last 12 months financials. Alt Edge VS, paste V as values. Control Z that, Alt Edge VS, paste V as values. So we have that set up there. So now we can begin estimating the implied transaction multiples, EV to revenue, EV to EBITDA, price to earnings, price to cash flow, as such. So this EV to EV, revenue or EV to EBITDA multiple enable us to determine the implied enterprise value for Amazon based on its EBITDA from its financial statement. So we can use the EBITDA in the year 2020, EBITDA in the year 2021, EBITDA in the year 2022, just as an assumption, just what we think is going to be best for the estimation of the enterprise value in this case. So now we have this set up, so it's going to be easy for us to compute these implied transaction multiples for the last 12 months. So in order to do that, here, like the transaction type, the transaction value here, it's just the enterprise value of Amazon. That is, we take the equity, implied equity value, and we add the net debt to arrive at this transaction value here. So we can highlight all of these. We can delete that. So what we are saying here is that the transaction value is essentially we take the implied equity value and we add the net debt on ES pieces formulas. So we get that in place. So essentially, the equity value plus the net debt arrives at the transaction or the enterprise value. So in order to determine here, the EV to revenue is going to be equal to the transaction value here, which is our enterprise value, to the total revenue. And EV to EBITDA is going to be this transaction value to the EBITDA. We can do the same thing for the price to earnings. In this case, we take the implied equity value divided by the net earnings. And here we have, lastly here, the price to cash flow, which is the implied equity value, the market value, and then we divide that by the cash flow. We have that set up there. We can highlight all of these, copy all ESF, basis formulas. So we have everything calculating well for us. So having that set up now, now we want to determine the low, the mid, and the high. So in this case, the low, the mid, and the high for the enterprise value. In this case, we're going to set this to be here. The median, the high, also take the average. So we have all of those set up there. So in this case, if we grab the low equal to the minimum of, we can take all of these, the median, the high with the max function, and the average. So we can take all of these and fill to the right for the EV to EBITDA, price to earnings, and the price to cash flow. Fill that right with Control R. Copy the formatting from here, or ESCS formats. So we have that set up there. So as you can see, it's very easy for us to estimate the implied transaction multiples, that is the EV to revenue, EV to EBITDA, price to earnings, and price to cash flow based on Amazon's M&A precedent transactions. For these transactions that took place approximately 5 years ago, from the year